This story begins with a request for help. The girl, who was sitting with her hands tied and bleeding, asked for help, calling Alto to her. There was a burning house behind her and in front of the young man who called to the girl. The guy, who was not far from her, tried to run to her, but he realized that his body was motionless and that he could not move. Trying to move himself, he asked someone to help him, because turning to Hannah, he understood that they could not lose. At that moment, someone above them said that it was already useless. It seems that the young man could not even scream, and all this was because of life. Life is an immutable law of fortune. Such is the will of God. The hero had to delve into it because he was born with too weak a life and therefore could only watch in silence without doing anything. At that moment, someone who was talking to our hero was going to attack the girl so that she was right in front of him. The young man, looking at this whole situation, asked that this someone stop, and he also begged himself to stop. When this someone started attacking Hannah, who also could not move, the next moment Hannah was startled and our hero screamed with tears in his eyes. 15 years ago, a young man lost his beloved. He was looking for a way to revive Hannah. By reading a lot of books, he seriously scoured the world to find a way to revive her. There were rumors that it was necessary to challenge the dragon in the dungeon, but the young man, challenging the dragon, did not know that the dragon was level 99, and yet he was looking for ways he could find it. If he didn't turn 55, being already old and standing in front of his opponent, our hero thought that victory was really impossible, even at level 99, with his experience. How was he able to defeat the dragon? But now he will not return, he thought to himself, at least to his loved ones. The hero fought, bleeding and remembering Hannah, thinking that she would believe him because he tried but still remained alone. At this moment, when his strength left him, with tears in his eyes, he remembered Hannah, because there was not a moment when he did not think about her. Remembering the happy moments that connected them, he apologized that he could not give her anything. Lying in front of the altar on which there was medicine, he thought that he could try and try again. In another place, the weather was beautiful, and a chair stood under a tree. On it, there was something, and addressing our hero, it spoke words of gratitude, asking about how his life went, because the hero was in the paradise of fortune. The young man, looking at the creature in front of him, understood that it turned out he had died. The creature explained that the person who got here was worthy of the tears of God. Enough time passed, and thought about what it was about him. A certain vessel revolved around our hero. The young man tried to understand what it was, where it was before him. The creature that was sitting on the chair said that the young man was granted the magic of resurrection. He could live his life anew. Hearing that he could live his life anew, the young man was very surprised. The next moment, the creature said that it could send him on vacation, if you could call it that. There was a beautiful field behind the creature, full of flowers and meadows, because it seemed to the creature that the soul of the young man was already worn out. Our hero interrupted the creature and said that it was not so. He wanted to live his life again. The hero answered clearly and loudly in front of the creature. The creature answered, "If so, then I will change your fate. But there is one condition, the term of 20 years, and there is only one chance. The power of fate is incredibly powerful, and your life runs out before you get over it." It asked the young man if he still wanted to start from the beginning. Our hero, remembering his Hannah, thought that of course he wanted this. The young man wanted to save the girl. Then the creature said that it was fine, so it offered to hear the young man's desire. The next moment, it moved into our hero, and then said that everything starts over. He would remember the rest himself. It said, "No, there is no other choice but to endure," making efforts to fulfill the desire, and it offered to challenge his fate. So our hero, opening his eyes and looking at the two people who were in front of him, again found himself in the body of a baby. His parents were in front of him. His second life began. Then someone called him, addressing Alto, and it was his parents who were happy to welcome their baby, and asked him to wake up, wishing the boy good morning and saying that it was nice outside and the sun was shining so they could go for a walk. Looking at his parents, Alto understood that he was back, a baby. Then stretching out his hands to his parents, he said, "Yes," and the parents, in love, looked at their son, wanting to hug him. The father pulled his hands to the child, and the mother, taking him in her arms, said that she had decided with the father that she would wake the baby. Then the father said that he would put him to bed, and the happy mom said that she really wanted to hug her son. She was overwhelmed with feelings, calling the young boy a cutie. He only uttered inarticulate sounds and thought to himself that everything was fine. He could not say a word to her. The neck was not fully developed yet. Looking at his mother, the son thought that she had long hair when he was born, and Dad apparently had not grown a beard yet, and thought that it was wonderful because he was reborn. The next moment, the parents approached their son to the window, and he was looking at the street, thinking about that new life, and this time, there was not a second to lose. Lying in his crib, our hero thought that he could not even suspect that the baby's body was so uncomfortable, so underdeveloped. First of all, he would like to walk, the boy thought, lying in his cradle. At that moment, his mother was cutting food next to him and humming something to herself. The next moment, our hero was thinking to himself that at least he could turn over, and then a window of the system appeared in front of him. When the boy pulled his hand to the side of the crib, but did not understand at all what it was in front of him, the system window displayed the first level and the data of our hero. His name is Alto, his first life. His profession is an operator, and his talent is a creator. Then Mom came up to her son, asked what he had there. Then our hero pointed to the screen and said, "Non-articulate sounds." The girl did not notice what our hero was pointing at and thought that she probably needed to change diapers, and the baby guessed that it looked like Mom did not see this window. At this moment, the system screen showed muscle strength, 1, physical strength, 1. Our hero thought that maybe these were the statuses of ability. He could assess the standard of living in the church. He had never heard that it was possible to translate ability into numerical equivalent. Maybe then everything happened. In remembering his meeting with a certain being in paradise, Alto said that he would allow him to choose his special tattoo. Upon hearing this, the young man asked the creature again, to which he said that it was given to people with a natural gift, geniuses, warriors, magicians, technicians, or creators. It seems the young man was a genius. Whether he wanted to leave it, something asked him, to which the young man replied that he did not want the past, because he wanted to be a creator. There are only 5 natural gifts in the world, but he had never heard of the gift of the creator. He had to see what he could do. Then, clicking on the system window, the baby saw that the gift of the creator was unique, and he saw the whole situation. If he could learn everything, he would raise the level. He thought that it was great, but then he saw that while he had the worst rating equal to 1, he would have to try, but he didn't have time. Our hero thought and tried to get out of his cradle. Looking at this, his mother told his father to look carefully because Alto was trying to get up, and then his father said that he had never seen babies do this. The boy had to grow up a little. Our hero thought to himself that he didn't have time at all because there were 15 years left before Hannah's death. During this time, he had to become stronger than the magician who attacked her. There was not a second to lose. Besides, in his previous life, he lost not only Hannah. Looking at his mother and father, our hero thought. Mom, looking at her son, asked what happened to Alto, because his face was very sad. At that moment, our hero hugged his mother and thought that 8 years later, he lost his father and mother, remembering how they died. It happened at night when Alto was 8 years old. Suddenly, a horde of goblins appeared. For the first time, monsters attacked the village. The father defended his son and mother, shouting at the goblins to leave them alone. Our hero, looking at all this, thought that he was enveloped in fright, and with tears in his eyes, he saw how his father was fighting goblins, and he only had a fear of death. At that moment, his mother was running away with him in her arms. Then he just clung to his mother, trying to scream. He followed his father, but it was too late. The next moment, the mother, running away, told Alto that everything was fine because Mom would help him. But at that moment, they were attacked by goblins, and the mother shouted that she would save her son. Then, throwing the young man away, the goblins took her away, and the mother shouted for her son to run because she would cope with them. The young man, scared, all he could do was clench his teeth and run away with tears in his eyes. The mother apologized to her son because she loved him so much. While our hero was running away in tears from his parents, he couldn't do anything, so he just ran away. But this time, in his second life, he will save Mom and Dad. It's time to become stronger, our hero thought, sitting next to his parents in the cradle. Later, Alto grew up and began to read books, and his intellectual strength status began to grow. Then the mother, taking the book away, told the young man to give it away, and he did not understand why he had to give the book. The next moment, the father, who thought that his lantern was not lit, tried to go look for his son. At this moment, the moment his lantern lit up, the status window said that the young man's magic power was at level 3. Passivity working with magic power. A new restoration of magic power. When he grew up, He already began to jump very fast and run while the other guys were just watching him. His agility status and evasion skill level rose, so it was every time our hero could do something new. The next moment, 8 years flew by in an instant. The young man sat near the tree and used the gift and skill, which also increased. When Mom came home, she told Alto that she congratulated him on his 8th birthday. She was very happy and hugged her son, to which he understood that his mother would crush him if she hugged him so much. His father said that the handsome guy was all in him and that they would immediately begin training the young man. His mother said that it was a good idea, while she congratulated her son because in the evening he goes to church. Our hero agreed. Everyone who turns 8 years old is given special bracelets. This is a kind of identity card, and our hero also turned 8. The priest said and asked Alto to stretch out his hands. The young man, standing in the church, stretched out his hand, and the priest gave a magic bracelet proving the identity of the young man. "It is better to go to the big city with it," he said, and asked him to be careful not to lose it. Having received his bracelet, the hero thought, at last, and that the goblins would arrive in the village in a few hours. He was already crying. He had to bring himself to his senses, Alto thought. The time had come. Remembering his past self, our hero thought he would save this village. Leaving the church and coming to the forest, the young man wanted to open the skill board to see how much he had advanced. This was his status. The young man thought that it was probably necessary to reach 15 levels. It was necessary to increase the power, and magic was 32 levels in total. And Alto already knew how to use all the skills accumulated over 8 years. The only skill he didn't understand was the ability to create various functional objects, and our hero thought to himself that he hadn't activated this ability before because he didn't have this skill. Then he thought that it wouldn't hurt in battle, so he decided to activate this skill this time. The moment he realized that the goblins were already here, the goblins were already in the forest, and our hero, noticing them, hid behind a tree, thinking that they had come. There were 3 goblins in total. Most likely they were scouts. Our hero thought that he had to be calm. In the past, he had defeated many monsters. Then the goblins noticed our hero, who was sticking right out from behind a tree, and ran straight to him. The young man thought that now would be the first fight in his second life. It was time to show what he had learned. Therefore, concentrating magic, he thought that he trained every day and would not regret it. This time, he was the only one who could save the village. So our hero launched an attack on goblins using flames. Having killed 1 goblin, the young man thought that he had succeeded and that it was not bad, but not enough. The next moment, he was fighting another goblin, while another attacked him from behind. Dodging him, our hero understood that he should not have made mistakes. So after killing all 3 goblins, he thought that it was necessary to strengthen the attacks, and lucky that he didn't meet any monsters yet. At the moment when our hero dealt with the goblins, the system showed that the level was raised. Our hero thought that it was cool. He was able to defeat them and also increase the level. Raising the level, the young man was already dizzy, thinking that his head was spinning. But then he saw a goblin running at him with a sword. The goblin was able to injure the young man. Then our hero thought, was it really a new wave of goblins? Dealing with the next one, he saw that there was a whole horde behind him, and he was caught off guard. There were a lot of goblins, but with the arm that was wounded, he would not be able to fight. And he thought that nothing has changed. No matter how he struggles, he will not be able to change his fate, our hero thought, remembering his beloved. Then the young man thought that he would not give up. Using magic, he thought that he should have tried harder. At that moment, the magic power reached level 50, and the skills that were obtained, Grave Reaper. When the young man saw the system window where the level increase was written, he thought that he had acquired the crafting skill, and the magic power would appear when the level increased. That's why he couldn't use it, our hero thought. At that moment, there was a horde of goblins behind him. Our hero thought to himself, did they want to attack him because they saw only his weaknesses, but not his fighting skills? And what would they do to him? Our hero thought. The next moment, one of the goblins began to attack the young man. Dodging his sword, he thought that it was close to being wounded. Using his magic, or rather a fireball, our hero attacked the goblin goblins and realized that it was harder with a cut hand, and this nastiness only became more. This time, the moment a large number of goblins attacked our hero, he thought, "This time there are 8. With such strength, I will be able to fight them off." So the young man tried to believe in his strength. Grave, the skill was used. The next moment, using magic, he was able to deal with the goblins, who were falling right into the gorge. Realizing that Alto had done it, the young man thought that he could. It was a grave. It was a crafting skill. Looking at his hands, our hero fought and rejoiced that he did this, remembering his fate, and thought that it would change because Alto saved the village. At that moment, the system showed him a level increase, and it was a lot of increases, probably because he defeated the goblins. Our hero fought once. The level has risen. It means he has heard that if there is an opportunity to go a step higher, then the level increases. This is an increasing pain, the young man thought, losing consciousness. Then, opening his eyes, the young man realized that he was cold and something was flying around his face. He thought at that moment he saw a certain creature, and looking at him jumping away, he thought what it was. There was some beautiful slime in front of him, and then the slime showed him its head. The young man saw some kind of liquid and asked if he had to drink it. Drinking what was in the slime's head, Alto thought about how good it was for him. The slime was jumping in front of him at that moment, and then our hero thought about what it was. Looking at the slime that was right in front of him, the young man thought that the slime was not like a dangerous monster, and that she was friendly enough. At that moment, the slime jumped right to our hero and climbed to his face, which he did not understand what she wanted, and that touching the slime was very ticklish. The next moment, our hero was already looking at the village where he was born, sitting on a mountain and thinking that it was a pretty small place surrounded by nature. At this moment, the slime also looked ahead and showed something, but our hero said that he would not return here. There is a person he should save, but he was still weak, and it was possible that it was all useless. About a mile from here, there is the city of Kitigrass, one of the best underground cities. The goal is to capture the upper floors, raise the level there as much as possible, our hero thought. Then the guy remembered his beloved and thought about how he could level up, remember what the city looked like, and what obstacles and battles were waiting for him, because only 7 years remained until that day, the young man thought. At that moment, the slime was crawling over our hero, and then getting up, he thought that he was apologizing to father and mother and asked to apologize for his sudden departure. The young man wrote a letter where he said that he had a list of tasks that, no matter what, he had to complete. The young man thought that this was the end, but it was necessary to fix everything, and so really needed, and thanked his parents for surrounding him with love. He was glad that he grew up with them, remembering his father and mother. 8 years have passed, and he was happy. The young man fought with tears in his eyes, and then it was necessary to go on the road. After leaving his parents' house, the slime followed him, and our hero could not understand if she was watching him because it was dangerous, and said that she would go alone. It was difficult to defend herself from monsters, but then the slime began to applaud her limbs. The young man thought that since she was so worried, she could stay close to him. Agreeing with the slime, time passed. 1 month later, our hero fought with a wolf that was strong enough, and after defeating him, he thought that he needed to have lunch. At that moment, the slime was next to him and dragged something on herself, and he realized that these were wounds from a new wolf. The young man thought and thanked the slime. At that moment, she put one of the magic stones directly into our hero's bag, and having magic stones, there was no need to worry about expenses, he thought. Then the slime put the stone, ran, and shouted something on its own. The young man saw where to move. The slime thought that he had really found them a bed for the night. The next moment, the young man looked out from behind the mountain, and the slime was sitting on it and looking at the night. The young man thought that it was just right. It was a cave, and he thought that today he would rest here because he had to go to Kitigrass tomorrow. After roasting a barbecue on the fire, he thought that there was a low-rank monster here, and it was easy to find food even without a fight, to which he was used. Finally, his body began to look like itself in a previous life, fast-growing and unsurpassed. The next moment, a system window appeared in front of our hero showing his level 32 and his characteristics, which increased each time. The young man was thinking that it was possible to raise the level more effectively while in the dungeon in order to become stronger. At that moment, our hero was sitting on a stone and holding holding another stone in his hand, and while eating a kebab, he saw that the slime that had climbed to him was also starting to eat a kebab. Looking at the slime that was on his hands, the young man asked him to try to eat rice, and asked if he would really eat everything. Smiling, our hero looked at her and thought about finding something that inspires in collecting magic stones. He was very glad that he met the slime. Then our hero asked was he really a predator, and it was a small shock for the young man. At that moment, someone was watching the hero from behind the mountain. When our hero felt that someone was watching him, he threw a stick from the barbecue directly towards the mountain where someone was hiding, and then he thought that someone was quickly dodging. The next moment, the young man realized that it was moving so fast that he could not keep track of it, and then, what was moving fast heard our hero, and he thought that if a bunch of attacks hit at such a speed, he would not survive. Looking in front of him, the young man saw a demon, not a man, a thief who came for magic stones, he thought. At that moment, this someone fell right in front of our hero, and then, taking the kebabs in his hands, which were our hero's, a girl in the guise of a half-human, half-animal stood in front of him. Looking at her, our hero completely didn't expect this. The young man saw in front of him a girl who was eating his barbecue and asked if she was a monster, to which the girl replied that she was a Magika and a traveler, and asked the young man who he was, to which our hero introduced himself saying that his name was Alto. The young man thought to himself that she was not like a monster and that the girl looked friendly. The girl looked at him. The guy said that she had very cute ears, and then she reported that she was from the squirrel tribe. Had the young man heard about this? But then she said that she didn't care. Our hero just looked at her questioningly, and the next moment, the girl was already disappearing from his field of vision, was next to the campfire where our hero's food was fried. The next moment, she asked if the young man did not mind if she finished it, to which our hero did not understand why she was doing this and where she was. He never heard please. At that moment, the slime was trying to get the shish kebab from the girl's hands, which she took. The next moment, in the morning, when our hero woke up, the girl was following him, and the slime was already sitting on her shoulder. Then our hero asked why the girl was following him, to which she told Alto that he was still a child. She needed to go to the cinema, so she follows him. To which our hero asked Magika if she herself was still a child. The girl said that if you look like an adult, you still remain a child. To which our hero thought that he was already an adult, even though he was going to go alone. But then it suddenly dawned on him, and turning to Magika, Alto said that time would pass faster, and it was necessary to go. Smiling at the girl, the young man said, to which she agreed. The next moment, the young man was pointing in front of him, saying that he had seen it, and it was Kitigrass. The landscape of the city appeared in front of the guys behind a large wall. Approaching the city, passing through the gate, they were greeted by residents. First, a girl came across who said that there was everything for them, low taxes and no criminal record, and offered they pass into the city. Since ancient times, Kitigrass means chaos, a wide variety of races. It's all about the dungeon towering in the center. People fascinated by the dungeon one by one gather in this city. At that moment, as the heroes entered the city, Magika was very scared. The young man asked what happened, to which she said that she was going through and seeing so many people for the first time. Turning to Magika, the young man said that he himself was from the village, and to which the girl replied that she lived on the street. The young man said that he was nervous when he arrived for the first time, to which Magika was very surprised and told Alto that he had previously said that he had not been here, to which Alto said that he was here with his parents, and then remembered that he was like 10 years old and felt that the city was alive. Almost nothing has changed. Looking around, our hero thought. Alto thought to himself, I wonder if something will happen in the next 2 years because we had to be careful. Then the girl asked where he was going now. Our hero said that he needed to go to the Adventurers Guild, needed money to live here, and asked if Magika was going with him, to which the girl said that she would certainly go with him. Coming to the guild, the young man said that he wanted to change magic stones, to which the man turned to him and said that the guy was at the wrong address. Our hero was very surprised, and then the man standing behind the counter said that the guy should leave because this place was not for children. Then our hero took his bag and shook it out on the table where all the stones he had were. The man who had previously wanted to drive him away was very surprised that the young man showed and asked where he had so many stones from. Our hero said that he got them on the hunt. Alto defeated this girl who was standing next to him, but does not know how to sell magic stones, pointing to Magika, Alto said. The man looked at the girl in surprise, and she wanted to say that she had nothing. Our hero asked her to shut up. Then, smiling, the guy realized that it came out around 1990, telling our hero 2 gold, 29 silver, and 85 copper. To which the young man thought there were only 1,990 pieces, and he was already so exhausted. Was it because he was a child, or was it about growth? Putting the money in his bag, the young man thought and asked, could he register as a finder? The man asked the young man why the child was registering as an adventurer, to which the young man pointed to the girl and said that she was an adult, and by the way, he needed to register because he had a big deal. At that moment, Magika wanted to say something again, but our hero closed her mouth and asked the man to hurry up because they didn't have time. When leaving the guild, Magika turned to Alto and told the young man to take her with him to use, asking him what. Our hero apologized to her, explaining that he did not want to, but at his age it is difficult to explain all this, so he just asked for help, and he asked Magika if it wasn't smart to spend time buying magic stones, to which she said that it didn't improve his reputation. Turning to Alto going after him, hearing about reputation, the young man said that he didn't care. No one gets stronger from increasing reputation, he said. Looking at that, as a young man, Magika was very surprised by his words. Our hero walked ahead of her and said that now that there was money, it was necessary to find a hotel and thank the girl for helping. They could eat together, but if the girl had some business, they could say goodbye here. After hearing this, she said that they could go, but not for nothing, either money or they spend time in his room. After hearing this, the young man said that the girl should follow him. Why, while what she was, our hero thought to himself. Evening came, and the young man said that he was very glad that the girl went with him. He thought that she would refuse at first. Sitting in the room, they talked, to which our hero said that because he looked like a wife for him, many roads were closed. In this hotel, delicious food, our hero said, and thought that the girl would also like it. While they were sitting in their room and our hero was explaining something, Magika looked at him point blank, and the young man did not understand what it was. The girl said that there was nothing like that, and she would go take a bath. Hearing this, our hero saw the girl taking off her cloak and asked her to undress in the bathroom and not in front of him. At that moment, the slime was very glad and slept on his bed. Magika thought that she was tired. Standing in the bathroom and putting on clothes because this was the first time for her, and when she got out of the shower, she thought that she would go to bed, and tomorrow morning she would eat her fill. At that moment, she saw our young man practicing magic exercises and realized that there was mana in front of her. A person was incapable of such a thing. Looking at the young man who was sitting on the bed with his eyes closed, she thought about who this Alto was. Traveling around the world, Magika explored it up and down, all in order to find someone. But a few days ago, some guy was lucky to tag along with her, the girl thought, and watching him, she saw that the young man was strong beyond his years, had skills that she had not yet seen. She had to get closer to check on him. It looked like he had some secret. Magika remembered everything that our hero said, and she was surprised that he spoke and behaved like an adult. Could it be that he was the one she was looking for, the one who could change this world? But according to the star prediction, the hero will come to this world in the body of a girl, and she thought that it was impossible for Alto to be this hero. Looking at the young man, she thought. Magika also thought that she had a feeling that the young man would become the key to opening the doors of a new world. This feeling that she experienced. The next moment, our hero was already asleep, tired after his classes, and the girl, looking at him, thought that when the mana disappeared, the young man collapsed like a dead man. Why is he so exhausting himself with training? The girl asks questions. One might think that someone was chasing him. Sitting on the roof of the house, someone was watching them, then tried to climb into the window that opened, and Magika was very surprised, thinking, who was there? And was it really a thief? thief. His presence was almost not felt. He must have had a very low level. She could drive him away, but she wanted to see how he would cope in such a situation, so Magika pretended to be asleep. At this moment, the thief who made his way into their room was reaching out to our hero and stretching out his hands to the back. Our hero woke up and wished a good evening to the one who was right in front of him. Pulling out a knife, he tried to attack our hero. The girl jumped up from her bed, shouted to Alto to be careful. At that moment, the knife froze right at the throat of the young man, and the thief said to the guy, "Don't move." The next moment, the thief told the young man that if he would behave like an adult, he would not touch him. Then Magika asked what the thief wanted, and our hero too. Did he really want money? And how did he know that they were in his bag? The young man asked, which the thief could not say anything to, and the young man offered to talk to him, attacking the thief because that thief was none for him, and used an air cannon attacking the one who came to attack them. This someone fell out of the window from the blow of our hero. Magika, looking at the young man, asked Alto if everything was fine, to which our hero said that everything was in perfect order. The girl, watching where the enemy fell, thought that it was incredibly complex magic that our hero used. In one awkward movement, it could easily kill a person. How many the young man trained to reach such a level at his age? Magika thought, looking at the boy. The next moment, she turned to Alto and asked him, but the young man was already sleeping soundly again. The girl was thinking that this boy would definitely become famous in many senses. Looking at the thief's knife, which was lying near the young man's bed. Waking up and going down to the tavern, the guys began to eat. They were brought different dishes, and our hero asked if it was delicious here and whether Magika liked it. The girl, eating everything in front of her, said that it was the most delicious thing she tasted, distorting the words because her mouth was full of food. The hero said so that she eats and does not hurry. The next moment, the guy is thanked for the treat, and Magika thanked our hero, saying that she was full to the brim, and they left the hotel. Then the young man, promising to Magika, said that in the morning she ate for 10. Then Magika asked what happened next. The young man said that to tell the truth, he planned to go to the dungeon, but an uninvited guest came yesterday, so he wanted to look somewhere else, holding in his hand a knife that was left from the thief. Then our hero went to the guild, coming and greeting those who were sitting right in front of him again. Two men were looking at him, one of whom was the one who was selling money to our hero. When he saw the boy, he asked if it was really yesterday's kid, to which the young man asked if they were studying magic stones today. The man said that he was talking to the boss, and if there was a case for him, he asked the young man to come later, to which our hero said that how well everything coincided. He would also like to discuss something with their superiors, and whether it could be that there was a thief in the guild, our hero said. Then the boss, looking at our hero, asked what the young man was talking about, and asked to tell him more, to which the young man said that some suspicious type had entered their room yesterday, but fortunately they managed to scare him off. But his goal was the money earned from the magic stones sold to the guild. The criminal did not rummage through the room. He knew exactly where they were lying. Otherwise, he would not have guessed to look for them in a child's bag. In other words, the robber can only be the one who was in the guild when making the transaction. When he finished speaking, our hero looked at his superiors, and then the boss said that the probability was really high. Then, turning to Lion, who was sitting right in front of him, through which the boss said that he was responsible then, and asked if there was anyone suspicious, to which Lion replied that he didn't even know. It maybe was, or maybe it wasn't. The boss asked to speak more clearly. Our hero silently watched this situation. Then Lion reported that there was no one suspicious. The young man, pointing to Magika, said that she, by the way, managed to brand the criminal when she dealt with him. The girl was very surprised by what the young man was saying. And then our hero reported that if the boss noticed a man with a magic sign on his hand, they asked him to detain him. At that moment, Lion lowered his sleeves. Giving the dagger to the boss, our hero said that the thief had also dropped the dagger. It seemed like a good dagger, but it would be better to hand it over to the guard as evidence. True, he will help them in the search for the thief, the chief said, looking at the dagger in front of him. The next moment, Lion jumped up and asked the boss if the young man could keep this dagger for himself, because there are rules by which you can take away the things of a defeated opponent. Wasn't it so? It was a pity to give such a good dagger. The boss agreed with Lion, but then there was a but. Before he could finish, Lion lion was already approaching our hero and giving him the dagger, saying that it was great and asking him to take care of this dagger because it was probably very expensive. And our hero, pushing the guy away from him, was dissatisfied with what was happening. Then the boss asked that the transactions take place calmly. It was necessary to strengthen the security. Lion said that he understood everything and asked to rely on him. Then our heroes left, and Magika said that that person was a thief. Was it worth it to leave it like that? To which our hero said that they were already warned. The rest is not their concern. To which the girl said, was his real goal really to get a weapon? And our hero, looking at Magika, did not understand. Did she see through him and thought that since they were done with it, the adventures begin? Standing in front of the entrance to the dungeon, our hero spoke, looking at the top from this very dungeon, and Magika, looking up, said she didn't see the top. Alto explained about the labyrinth of Kitigrass, because this is one of the greatest dungeons in the world, and no one knows how vast it was and who built it and how. So when they entered the portal, they found themselves in another place. The young man explained that there is a lower level. From the 1st to the 25th floor, you can walk through it relatively calmly. Then mostly novice adventurers train. While our hero was telling, here someone's mooing attracted his attention. The next moment, two guys who were standing not far from him said that this monster had escaped from the top floor, and shouting to the guy that his magic was not enough, so the young man had to run. And then a giant rat with a horn on its head ran straight at our hero. Everyone saw him, said that there was a child, he needed to run faster. Alto, looking at the enemy in front of him, pronounced the word grave. The next moment, the animal fell right into a big hole in the floor, and the young man thought that their affairs were bad. He would not have calculated the strength of the skill, then he would have overdone it and could have hurt the others. To which Magika, looking down, was surprised. How? And all the others who didn't understand where that huge hole in the floor came from, some thought it was an earthquake, but there was no shaking. The young man said that suddenly the floor collapsed. As if for evil, the hole was deep enough, so he shouted to everyone to be careful, and they ran away. Magika said, why didn't he say that it was his doing? Then our hero reported that they wouldn't believe him anyway. It was better to run faster to the upper floors. From the 26th floor, there was an average level. They say a real maze begins from here. The next moment, Magika was dealing with a bear, and the young man said that it was cool and that she defeated the bear with one blow. Magika, sitting next to the carcass, said that it was nothing special because Alto also fought. The young man, taking out the blade from his belt, thought that it was worth testing it. At that moment, the system reported an increase in skill. Dexterity was +10. The young man was very glad that the skill was increased because he could not imagine that this dagger was so effective. If there was a skill board, he would immediately be able to see progress and not feel it, and that the knife would definitely come in handy when selecting equipment. Even with such a good weapon, you can't stop, and you had to become stronger. By dealing with the bears in front of them, our hero thought that at the middle level, the monsters were also not particularly strong. So, when leaving, it was better to look for more serious monsters. The upper level was next in line, our hero reported, and they left from the middle level. Having dealt with opponents, Magika was just looking at the bears who were killed by our hero. Our hero made his way into the cave, and a fight began there. The next moment, he was fighting demons who were coming straight at him, and using a rock fall, Alto decided that he could fight off these demons. Then the demons fell under the stones that our hero could use. Looking at this, he exhaled with relief. The guys were on the 50th floor. The upper level starts from here, the young man said, addressing Magika, and that this was a high-risk zone where only a small part of high-level adventurers are able to fight. With each next floor, the strength of the monsters will increase. So first, you had to go up to the level. Here, our hero said, looking ahead of him. Magika only looked at Alto, and then, turning to him, asked why the young man fights in the usual way with monsters. Hearing this, our hero was very surprised. Was there really an unusual way? And if the girl knew a good method, then Alto asked to teach her. Our hero looked at Magika with sparkling eyes, to which she replied that she did not want to say that, but that the monsters that the young man had just defeated were strong enough to cause problems even to high-level adventurers. Magika didn't like that the boy flunked several of them at once, and she couldn't get it out of her head. How did it happen that the young man was so strong? Standing in front of our hero, the girl asked. Then the young man decided to ask if she thought it looked strange, and Magika said that of course it was so from the outside, and asked why our hero was so surprised. The next moment, the young man realized that she was already the second person who could see his real self. Before that, no one recognized him except Hannah in his previous life. Even when Alto reached level 99, he had to fight monsters alone, while high-level adventurers gathered followers. No one even looked in his direction because his life was low. The young man recalled what happened to him and that this was the law of this world. It turns out that there are people who, apart from Hannah, did not obey this law, the young man thought to himself. At that moment, Magika was interested in whether the young man in front of her was exactly human, but our hero, smiling, replied that he was 100% exactly human.